Today is Wednesday, February 14th, and I can't join you for class. So this video is intended to give you the directions that you'll need to be successful during today's class period. Today you are going to be working on the Build a Better Government assignment. For instructions for this assignment, you can check out the directions video I made, or you can check out the directions that you can find on Schoology. So for now, I'm going to skip all of these instructions and go right to what you're supposed to do today. So today, you are going to have 30 minutes of time to individually become an expert on your assigned philosopher. So remember, if you need to find out which philosopher you've been assigned and which group you'll be part of, you need to go to the Build a Better Government folder. You need to go to the Build a Better Government group assignments, and you need to find the Google Doc for your class period. This will give you the philosopher that you have been assigned, as well as the classmates that will be on your team. For the first part of today's class period, you'll be working individually to become an expert on your philosopher. This means you'll need to go to the Build a Better Government Resources folder, and you'll need to click on the philosopher that you've been assigned. So if you were assigned Thomas Hobbes, you would click on the Thomas Hobbes page, and then the first thing that you would do is to read the article on Thomas Hobbes. So this is a one-page text on Thomas Hobbes. Each philosopher has a one-pager like this one, and as you read, you should be looking for the answers to the questions listed right below the link. If you finish this with time to spare, you can move on to the selection from the Leviathan. So this is Thomas Hobbes's work, and this is an excerpt from one of his most famous books called The Leviathan. The vocabulary can be challenging, and since Thomas Hobbes wrote hundreds of years ago, he uses language that wouldn't be common today. So feel free to look up words if you need to, and don't worry too much if you're not able to fully understand his ideas. You'll be working with a team of others to try to summarize what you read in this one-page excerpt from the Leviathan. If you have more time, you can watch the video on Thomas Hobbes. This is optional and can be used as you start your presentation. So please start with the reading assignments before you move on to the viewing, and know that this is a resource that you have available to you. You'll have 30 minutes of individual work time to work to build your expert knowledge on your philosopher. You will then use the questions to have a discussion with your teammates after those 30 minutes are up to work together to build better understanding of Thomas Hobbes' ideas, or your own philosopher's ideas, of course, because some of you will have Locke, Montesquieu, or Rousseau. Once you've finished with your discussion, it'll be your group's task to review the Build a Better Government assignment and to make some decisions about how you're going to work together as a group. So after the 30 minutes of individual reading and viewing time, you will move into group discussion and planning. Once you've discussed the questions about your philosopher, you'll need to go to the Build a Better Government folder, and you'll need to make a plan for your group. Now, as you work on this plan, you are going to be submitting your plan on Schoology. So when you're in the Build a Better Government folder, you'll notice there's a Build a Better Government team plan. I put you into teams, and you might not know some of the people in your team. So one important skill in collaboration is having clear expectations for each member of the group. So each person is going to be completing their own Google Doc with their Build a Better Government team plan. You'll open the document, you will identify your name, and you'll list your group members' names. As a group, you will decide on the tasks your team needs to complete to be successful in this assignment. And then you will list the task that you personally have been assigned by your team. If your team decides to assign roles, like maybe one of you is the lead researcher, the other is the lead communicator and will be kind of responsible for creating your final product, that's something that you should record at this time. You don't necessarily need to have roles as long as each person understands what they are expected by their team to do and what their team needs them to do to be successful. You'll need to think about how your group will share completed work. So are you completing a Google Slides presentation and you'll each have access? Will you have a Google Doc that you'll use to communicate ideas? Will you create a GroupMe or some other form of communication that you'll be using? So it's up to your group to decide, but you do need to make a decision about how your group is going to share completed work and communicate outside of class. So make sure you also have a communication plan. If someone gets sick tonight and can't come for the workday, how will they know what they're expected to do? How will you make sure that the group is able to carry on? Which type of product will you be creating? So at this point, it's important that your team think about the options and then decide what you would need to, which one you're going to choose as a team. There's also a place for you to ask questions. So I'll be reviewing these team plans on Wednesday afternoon. And so if you submit your questions here, I will respond to your team by the time you arrive in class on Thursday, February 15th. I will respond by Schoology message, so make sure you check your messages if you did submit a question here. Once you finish your group work plan, you can get started on your individual tasks, and this should be your focus for the rest of class today. Now remember, you do have the entire class on Thursday, February 15th to continue to work on your project, but it is due when you arrive in class on Friday, February 16th. As you approach the questions, if you are stuck, make sure you start with the resources that were provided to you. So you had some resources in the 2.1 Enlightenment Philosophers activity. You also have the resources that I've provided. So before you just Google the questions, make sure you're using your resources because this is actually going to be the easiest way to answer those questions. You can do extra research if you need to. So if you find that you're not finding anything for, the religion and government question, and you think this is one you could possibly answer, then make sure you do the extra research that you need to. Once again, if you have questions, start with a classmate. Maybe somebody else in class knows the answer to your question. You can also email me or send me a Schoology message. However, I will likely only be able to check email today around noon and then at the end of the day. So I won't be able to provide you with an immediate response. You could also, again, list the questions at the end of your group plan, and I'll review and respond to those by the time you arrive in class on Thursday, February 15th. Good luck!